This shows you a sort of sequence. I just started making these shapes, and then I made them more. I wiped some away. I wiped here. I drew here. And each of these is the same painting, but I just kept working at it, rotating the canvas and just waiting till it works. And this is the final piece. I mean, the crown just didn't happen to be there red. I had it like, first it was here, and then it was like part of this shape. It kept moving and moving.
Like these drips right here, is that right, that this is flipped over? So those would be...
Yeah, I did use them. Or yes. So it just depends.
I think that's, if I can say some more, I think that's what you're saying is really important for everyone to hear. I mean, all of us to experience also, because it's those choices that makes each artist different, from someone else.
Yes.
Even as you said, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. And I think that's really important, because the choices we make are part of, at the beginning when Liz mentioned the, not trepidation, but, everyone before giving a presentation is a little nervous. But I thought one of the things, it came to me, it's so obvious, that with the artist, it's not a verbal language, it's a visual language. So having to talk about it, you're like translating your own thoughts.
Right.
And that is a very uncomfortable. So I just wanted to add that as it would make sense. I don't think any artist, if they wanted to talk about their work, they would write it. They wouldn't paint it or create it. They'd use the different language. But I think you're doing quite well. And I really appreciate what you're saying. So thank you.
And Valerie, when you mentioned that like all of your art is connected to feelings, to what you're feeling, and then you say you begin with drawings and lines, and then you wipe them out and you go back to the drawing and lines and wiping it out until you get that aha moment. That just takes me to some of what we have been doing in articulation and the activities of just being present in the moment and then starting from that point, because I know Maria has led some of those before we went on to an activity, getting us centered.
Right.
And that would be sort of like that process, whatever our process is, to get centered in that moment and then create. And I love the use of your titles as well.
Yeah.
And how and how I actually see the work in each one of the titles that you have shown.
It's the connection more than the standard, Rhonda.
Yeah.
It's the connection. It's how I connect.
Yes.
The title, Karen, the title come after or coming at the beginning or after the aha moment?
I keep a pad near my easel, and it doesn't come in as a title. It comes in as a thought, like a few words, and I write it down. And then later on, most times I will use that as the title. This painting is called Stepping Stones. I couldn't have thought of that just sitting by myself saying, okay, let's find a title. It had to be part of the process. Like Joan said, the words started coming in my head as I'm painting colors and shapes. I ran into a friend I haven't seen in a long time last year. I asked what he did, how was the summer? He goes, I had a great summer. I made 24 paintings. I said, 24 paintings? Wow, I'd love to see them. He goes, they're all in his mind.
It's be in the present and be open to the experience of your work.
And sometimes, even when the painting's finished, could take me 6 months to a year to go, aha.
Yes.
And or to know what the painting's about. I just really have a deep faith that if I keep working, it's going to happen.
I love this picture. I love the blue background. That is something I want to ask about this. Did the blue background come late, or did it come early and you replaced it? Because when you showed the other pictures, all of a sudden it had this blue background with the triangular pieces.
You're very observant, Betty. It came late.
How long did it take for you to paint the whole, the final product?
About 50 years, I say. It took my lifetime. I can't time it. I don't know how long it took. But now that I have a studio, I could time it, because now it's like I go into a place to work. Before this, I was in my basement.
Oh, I see.
Free phone. Now I'm more productive.
Also, the final product looks so different than when you
Yes.
started. I like that crown, the
Yeah.
center. This painting is so much more centered than when you started. I see how you came from there to here.
You know what I like also about the process is, as I'm looking at it, it's like a novel to me, because I can tell a story and then there's another layer and then there's another story being told, and so forth and so on. And the finality, or the final piece, it just is like the end. This is the story, but the layers underneath is just saying something every time you put, whatever amount of time it took you. That was just the process of the story. And this could be, a novel in itself. Like the audience can look at it and determine whatever they want to determine, regardless of what you're putting on the canvas.
Right. It had to be this way because I painted it. Everyone has their own way of working and meaning.
Thank you, Karen.
It's just a journey. Just see what happens.